Well, hello there. This is Shane from Shane's Books and Review, and I hope you are having a great day today. Today, we're going to be talking about another Dune book. I think it's book 3 in the series. The name of the book is Children of Dune, and it was narrated, and one of my favorites is in here. We've got Scott Brick and Simon Vance, and both of those guys, they're so good at what they do. So, as far as the narrations and, all that kind of stuff goes, it's on par. Production was great. Highly enjoyable to listen to. Anyway, so we've come to a new place. So again, there's been a bit of a fast forward. Now Dune has changed. Planet Arrakis is different now than it used to be. Now it's turning lush. It's green. It's got water. In the last book, we saw Paul realize maybe what I'm doing isn't so great. I know it's not so great. And the path that I've set humanity on, it's going to take a whole lot of sacrifice to get us to where we need to be. And there's some speaking about this golden path and some other things throughout the first, second, and now this book as well. The story is getting more complex, but not overly so in the third book. The third book is essentially going to be focusing on his children that was born. And these are the ones that are going to be, hopefully, the heirs if they can survive. So whenever we open up, we find out a few things just right off the bat. It seems like there's plots within plots yet again, and these children's lives are in danger. They are trying to get this prescience thing going, but they know if they do that it's very dangerous, especially for their bloodline to do this, and it could cause some major problems in the future. Their sister has already been took over by one of her ancestors, and she's not really doing so well. Although she's kind of sitting as the head of the planet, everybody's like, yeah, there's some changes here. Even her husband, he realizes that she's not the same person. The eyes aren't the same. Even her own mother recognizes that there's these little twitches that she does now that she used to not do, and it's very remarkably like a particular leader of the House Harkonnen. That's kind of where her story is. She's getting ready to be rebelled against. There's all kinds of dissension. There's the Fremen way of not wasting any water, of being very much in tune with where you live, being part of the planet. And there are also some very unique people in that they want to make as much money as they can. So they sell the spice and they sell this, that, and the other. In sci-fi, there's, of course, occasionally you'll come across a concept or an idea that's new, unique, or different, or is an idea that was forgotten. And that's kind of what has happened with the writing. I mean, granted, this was 1976, but still to this day, there's other instances of kind of stuff like that, but this was so well done. It was so well pulled off. Essentially, Leo has to make this decision of where humanity is going to go. His father, Paul Atreides, or the preacher, has put us to a particular point, and there has to be a decision made, and his father, rightfully so, didn't want to make that decision. Instead of it becoming a complete and total jihad and a fight, that sort of a thing in a religious regard to get to a particular point, he kind of pulls back. And he doesn't make a mockery of himself, but he does start seeding doubts and this, that, and the other, and calling people out on their stuff. There's multiple scenes in the book where there's conversations in this one and the previous one where this preacher character, which is Paul, is trying to put people straight. And it's just not working because, for the most part, he's become kind of like a godhead. And he's not really comfortable with that because he knows what all kind of problems this is going to bring. Yeah, he's got himself caught in that wonderful catch-22 and not really being able to prevail. Now, Leto, on the other hand, he ends up seeing what Paul has gotten to, where humanity will go. And if he doesn't do this and this and this and really punch the crap out of society, it's never going to go anywhere, and there's not going to be any different. The main being, as there's such this dependency on the spice or melange, whatever you want to call it, within this series, that without it, humans think that they can't survive. It's a drug that everybody is ingesting and taking, and the people that live on Dune, especially the Fremen, their eyes have changed because of it. They have this blue that's around the outside where the white should be. It's so ingrained in them, in their bodies and everything, that it's going to be a very severe thing to remove humanity from. So that's the plan that Leto hatches. It's going to be a storm to remove everybody from this, but he knows that once we're removed from it, our own abilities will start to take prevalence over all this other stuff, and that things will probably become better. At least that's his hope. Now, I'm not going to tell you everything. It's interesting seeing how these things are starting to play out and come together, and I can't wait to get to the next book and get through it, because it's just the way that is. It's really unique. It's very cool to follow along with that. I'm not going to say this book is for everyone, or that this series would be for everyone, but it is a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. And I know that there's some mythos in there in the past about this, because the person that directed it didn't even want to be known as the person that was directing it. It's kind of funny the way that worked out, but the story and the subject matter in the story and just the grand epicness of it all really brings to life the characters and brings to life the story. Let's talk about some of the feelings of the book. So I kind of feel like Leto is more of a disinterested party, as it were, simply because he's another one of those that were awoke in the womb whenever it comes to having too much spice ingest. And so he has all those memories, just like his sister Aaliyah, I think was her name. And Hilma and his sister Gianna, they're just like that. They're just like her. And so there's this whole thing for them where they're outside of society because they already have the life memories of all their ancestors and can pull from them. And they need to bring all this together and basically file it away and be able to pull from it. It's seeing all that. It was not necessarily an anxious thing, but it was we've kind of been through this before, but now there's understanding of why this needs to be done or why this is the way that it is. So that was definitely a good addition to the story and the material. I didn't have much angst in this. I had a couple moments where I was like, kind of saw that coming, but hoorah, way to go. And beyond that, it's more of anticipation of the next book, because even though this one puts the entire genre so far, book 1, 2, and 3, so we have Dune, Dune Messiah, and now Children of Dune, so he wraps all those up and sets them over here in their own little box. And it feels like it's prepped for that fourth oncoming book now, so we're ready to move on from that, and I certainly am as well. It was definitely a good read. Granted, it's long, but it's long for a reason. There's some very interesting things that I've come across in the past where authors won't close off a story and start a new one. And with the generational things that are happening here, this is one of those stories where that can be easily done. The material is lending itself very well to becoming a long-term thing. Now, granted, I'm speaking about this in 2020. It was wrote in 1977, 76, something like that. The point being is that there's lessons that could be learned from that from people that are writing today. Just putting that out there. So, Frank Herbert, well done. It was an enjoyable book. I liked it. I enjoyed the character interactions. I think that they were on point. They were true to themselves, most of the situations, and one of them is becoming more and more unsettled and fighting themselves. And I think that in that situation, that is very much true to who she would be, and it's really good to see that. I feel like Paul has maybe mellowed out a little bit too much in these years, but on the same token, I understand why now that we've had that confrontational scene. So things have been well done. It was good. Is it going to be on my top shelf books for this year? Probably not, mainly because of how old it is. It's not really new material at all. As far as like long term goes, it's certainly won a lot of respect, because this will be something that I can go back to in another 3 or 4 years and reread the whole thing and enjoy it just as much as I am now. So kudos, good job. I don't know what the whole thing was. I don't usually do that in everyday speech, but it's a thing. It was done. Can we just wipe the screen? Yes. Now we're
get that
off there. Moment. There we go. Nicely done. And now it's time for the most interesting things we found this week. Scraps, thank you for putting that up there. Also, received a very unique notice on a particular book that shall not be named, because it has a whole lot of different types of comments than what we're used to seeing. But there was somebody that said something was intelligible on there. So, yeah, that was kind of cool to see for a change, because I did re-enable comments, but I was just like, I wanted to see if people can behave at this point. It seems like I had it out of that for long enough that maybe, yeah, hopefully so. Anyhow, what do we have coming up? Well, I'm going to be frank and honest. I have had a whole lot going on the last 2 weeks, and I haven't really listened to a whole lot. I did pick up the .5 book, Sector 64, First Contact by Dean M. Cole, because I've been enjoying reading some other stuff that he's wrote. I was like, why not? So I'll be reading that, and probably the first book, Ambush, as well, just to see if the two of them coincide very well with each other, or what that's about. Don't know much about them yet. That's the only ones that are in my thing right now. Yes, but we'll make a change to that sometime soon. I'm going to go back through all of our comments and get some of the books that you guys and gals have so wonderfully suggested and put those on the list. That's the thing. If you managed to stay this far through the video, thank you so much. You are incredible. You are the sunshine that is warming our souls. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. This is Shane from Shane's Books and Review. I'm not sure which video YouTube is going to want you to check out over here. It's going to be either this one or this one if we pull the thing in and then we put the things over there. Sometimes the things don't pop up over there, and whenever they don't, that's okay. It's just, it is what it is. But anyway, long of the short, thank you so much for staying this long. If you watched all the way through the video,